How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. Today we are going to be returning to r/NoNewNormal. As I stated in a previous post, I am returning to insane subreddits, and this one just made the list. After everything that's gone on, I decided I have to revisit it. Now, I had a good conversation with someone in the comments of my last video who talked about how I was overly critical to the point of not even trying to find out information about what they were saying, not trying to view it from their point of view. So I'm going to try and be a little more level-headed in how I approach some of these posts. I'm going to talk about things I agree with as well as things I disagree with, but there are some posts in this subreddit that make it really difficult. Now, I want to get it out there before we begin. I do not believe that the way the UK government and the way the US government has handled this pandemic was in any way good. I think their responses were lacking, they were extremely late, and as a result, we have paid the price when perhaps if they were more competent, we didn't need to. However, I also believe that there is a lot of medical science that exists that those governments were neglecting. There is a lot of medical science from doctors and such that could have prevented this pandemic that wasn't utilized by the likes of Donald Trump and Boris Johnson, who completely ignored them. So we're going to now take a look at this subreddit, and I'm going to try and be more level-headed. However, I don't agree that this is a conspiracy. I just think it's general incompetence. Let's take a look, shall we? Imagine if COVID vaccine adverse reactions and deaths got the same treatment as COVID cases and deaths, with daily updated totals plastered across all newspaper and news networks. Imagine if they told the truth. How many would think twice about rushing this stuff into their veins? So the COVID vaccine has no known deaths. I want to make that very clear. I have looked into this. I actually did some research into this subject, as I said I would. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention currently says that there are no deaths attributed to COVID-19 vaccines. Over 92 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines were administered in the US states from December 14, 2020 through March 8, 2021, and not a single person has died from them. So, if they did plaster all the people that have died from the vaccine on billboards like they do COVID deaths, they would read a big zero, just a big zero. So I don't agree with this one. Yeah, there can be adverse reactions to vaccines. However, no one's died from the COVID vaccine, and there's been millions of people have died from COVID. So the risk far less than the reward in this case, because you are infinitely more likely, genuinely infinitely more likely to die from COVID than the vaccine, seeing as you're not going to die from the vaccine. This is going to be a long one, I can tell. When you've remixed the common flu and the whole world is talking about it, this is where this subreddit starts to lose me, because you do get some level-headed posts here. However, then they go and start talking about Bill Gates. They gotta make it about Bill Gates, you know? You guys that have been with my channel for a while know that I have looked at this kind of thing for a long time, right? I've looked at vaccines, and I've looked at Insane People Facebook and Vax Happened and all of that stuff. And Bill Gates is a really common denier in what these conspiracies bring up. All of the conspiracies think Bill Gates is some evil lizard. So when something like this, someone pretending to be level-headed, brings up Bill Gates, I can't help but it loses me. This is the start. And trust me, it gets worse. So then someone posted this video, which is of a peaceful protest in, I think, the Netherlands, protesting lockdown restrictions, and the result was that they were attacked by the police. Now, you guys that know me know that I do not agree with violent responses to peaceful protests. I have been involved in a protest myself, and I follow the Black Lives Matters protests very, very intently. I watched all of it. I kept an eye on everything going on with that because it's an important cause. And I I do not agree with the police responding to protests the way they are doing in this video. It's like social psychology 101 is that the police responding to something violently will only result in more violence. All that this will cause is riots, right? This is not going to solve anything. Violent police response solves nothing. Even though I don't agree with the protest and what the protest is protesting, I don't agree with the way the police handled the protest. So this is a picture of a school, and I should have screenshotted the caption on Reddit, but basically the caption on Reddit said, "This is child abuse." No, it's not. It's a bunch of kids that are just kind of spaced apart and wearing masks. In most American schools that I'm aware of, aren't kids already spaced apart? Like, doesn't that change very little? All the difference is they're wearing masks. It's not child abuse. And it's not even close. Saying that that's child abuse massively takes away from actual child abuse going on in the world. So this one is actually a video, but I only have a screenshot because I wanted the caption from the subreddit in it. And it's just a video of Croatia and no one's wearing masks and everybody's doing fine. And it says, "Beautiful free people of Croatia. I can keep watching this over and over." But the thing is, this neglects the fact that Croatia currently has 10,000 active cases and only 5,000 deaths, which is less than one state in the US alone. There's a reason that different countries have different restrictions depending on how they're handling the situation. And the prize goes to COVID-19 for being the first virus in history to kill people with cars and bullets. This one has me on a line, right? Because there are a lot of conspiracies that claim that a lot of the COVID numbers were inflated by causes of deaths caused by other things, right? However, finding evidence of this is very, very difficult. Everything is hearsay. I do agree that there needs to be a very, very important thing made between people that have died with COVID and people that have died from COVID. There needs to be a very clear divide made between the two. However, it's not a conspiracy. It's just incompetence. Like I've said before, it's just people not making up for the fact that there's a pandemic on. It's just incompetence from incompetent leaders. I will forever die on the hill that Boris Johnson is an absolute buffoon and should never have been the Prime Minister of the UK. However, doing nothing is going to be considerably worse than doing something that isn't very good, right? At least this shows that they are trying to do something about it rather than just abandoning it. Like, you know, the first year of the pandemic with Donald Trump in charge, where he just went, "Nah, I take no responsibility for anything going on here." It's incompetence. It's not a conspiracy, it's incompetence. I want to get this printed on a shirt. I now need to get a shirt that says "It's not a conspiracy, it's incompetence" printed, because that sums up everything that this subreddit brings up pretty much. And now we're going to get into the next post where this subreddit starts to lose me, because they start diving really far into conspiracy stuff that you see in other conspiracies. Leaving home, always make sure to cover your face. It's the law. Sharia law, USA. So this is where the conspiracy starts to bring in that, oh, it's all some Muslim invasion, right? They want to turn us all into Muslims. No, it's not. It's one of the dumbest things that comes up in this subreddit. It's one of the reasons I cannot back this subreddit. Even if there is 1 in 5 posts on here that I agree with, the other 4 out of that 5 are like this, and they're just ridiculous. It's racist, it's Islamophobia, it's claiming that Muslims are trying to invade our country. Like, no, it's not. And saying that it's all Muslims invading other countries when the United States has such a heavy track record of invading third world countries and forcing Christianity upon them, it blows my mind. It blows my mind that that's what these people think this is about. And it's not. This is the kind of post I cannot be level-headed with. And then the next one we have, they're calling Biden a communist, but he's not. You learn what communist means. And we're going to come back to this because this subreddit will contradict itself. They're calling Biden a communist. because he is a liberal Democrat, which aren't communist, but you know, this subreddit apparently is all about Muslims and communists now, so like it's ridiculous. That sure, there have been a couple of posts that make sense, and then this. Government gives self more power than needed. People, protests, government, these people are dangerous and unruly. We need to give ourselves more power to stop the protests. Where were you guys during the Black Lives Matter protests? Where were you guys when people protesting against the violence against black people was being met with more violence? Where were you guys? You guys were on the line saying that the black people deserve it. If black people don't want to be shot, then they shouldn't commit crimes. All of that stuff. And now, suddenly, you guys are the ones that are being met with police brutality, and suddenly it's all a conspiracy. Police violence happens to everyone. It's not good, and I don't agree with it. However, you guys aren't the only ones being targeted by it. This isn't a conspiracy. This is like the norm now. This is what our governments have resulted in. This is modern capitalism being met by lots and lots of police violence by people that they don't like. That's what this is. If we really want to dive into conspiracies, how about we talk about how toxic capitalism's got, yeah? Communism's the way forwards, not capitalism. Capitalism is what's causing half of these issues. Why have the break rooms in Florida been moved back to normal? Lack of social distance in the break room seems like an invitation for employees to get sick, then give COVID to customers. So then don't go near your co-workers. Wear a mask. What are you complaining about right now? You people are insane. You literally don't want to take personal responsibility for your own health. You want the government to force everybody to wear a mask. Store manager said a return to normal is 100% in compliance. I'm on the west coast of Florida. No masks, no distance in the break room. Seems like an unbelievable lack of employee protection. No masks? That seems terribly negligent. Last time I checked, everybody is totally responsible for their own health and capable of bringing their own masks. No, right? I'm going to now make a comparison that these people love drawing, right? This isn't a straw man. This is something that they say regularly. If COVID kills people, we have restrictions. So what about cars? Why don't we ban cars? Cars kill plenty of people every day. Yeah, they do, and we have so many restrictions against cars, right? It's not just about your health, okay? Your health is important. However, people mingling in the staff room, people being responsible for their own health, if you get COVID and then you give it to someone, that's you being responsible for yours and their health. That is a choice you have made that has resulted in affecting someone else's life. When you drive a car, you take the responsibility of yourself and your passengers into your hands, right? However, if you hit someone with your car, that's manslaughter. If you drink drive, that is even worse. But it's my rights, right? I have a right not to wear a mask. I have a right to drive my car while drunk. I have a right not to wear my seatbelt. No, you don't. That's the government genuinely chooses what rights you have based on the laws. And if the government decides that something is important for protecting other people, then you don't have a say in that. You can protest and try and change it, but if the government doesn't think it needs changing, they're not gonna change it. There's a whole reason we have restrictions on everything else. Cars have to have airbags and seatbelts. You can't drive a car while drunk. You can't drive a car without a license. You can't drive a lorry without a specific license for a lorry. There are restrictions in place. So the comparison is, if I choose not to take COVID restrictions and give COVID to someone else and then they die, I should then be charged with manslaughter, because that's exactly how it works with a car, right? That's the comparison being made here. I take my own life into my hands when I drive a car. However, I can still kill people and it's not okay to do so. And then that leads me into this post. Even a year later, I still dread seeing faceless masked people at the store. I usually go grocery shopping at the late hours when hardly anyone is around. Even then, I buy what I can and leave quickly. Even after a year, I still get very uneasy going to the grocery store and seeing masked people. Anyone else? But like, it's not your choice if other people want to wear a mask. Why should you choose whether people wear a mask? You know, it's not your choice. It's your choice not to wear a mask. It's their choice to wear a mask. Why does that make you uneasy? It's not your choice. They're just living their lives how they want to live their life, like free people. I'm just saying. That's exactly what this subreddit is talking about, but it misses the people that choose to do these things. The difference is, someone wearing a mask is far less likely to infect someone else than someone who isn't wearing a mask. Just like someone who shoots someone with a gun is more likely to kill that person with the gun than a person with a gun that the barrel's blocked, right? And this one, I don't even know why, is in this subreddit. UK company captures the freshest coastal air in a bottle and sells it for $100 per 700 milliliter bottle. This is capitalism at its worst. It has nothing to do with COVID, so I don't know why it's in this subreddit. But this subreddit making points about how Biden is apparently communist, but then posts stuff like this with the tag dystopia, by the way, saying how terrible the future is getting. This is all caused by capitalism. Capitalism is the reason a UK company is selling air for $100 per bottle. Also, why dollars if it's a UK company? Just putting that out there. That's capitalism. That's the fault of toxic capitalism. That's the result of capitalism being in the state that it is. So I don't understand the point that this subreddit is trying to make, where this subreddit is trying to go with this stuff, right? So again, I just can't get behind half the stuff this subreddit says, because anything that I have agreed with, someone said something the opposite, but still saying it's bad in the same subreddit. It just contradicts itself. I struggle. It's just full of like 10% sane people that have issues, 90% insane people that think that communist Muslims are trying to take over the world. Imagine being someone who rides a motorcycle with no helmet and wears a mask outside while riding it. I agree, this guy is stupid. This guy is on a motorbike, he has no helmet, he has no bike leathers. He is, first and foremost, an idiot. He is not taking his own protection into his own hands while riding a motorbike. If he crashes, he's gonna die. Wearing a mask while on a motorbike, not important at all, really. Like, I'm not gonna say that people should or shouldn't do it. It's not really going to make a difference on a motorbike, but not wearing protective gear on a motorbike is dumb. So yeah, I agree with this one. This guy is being stupid. And then we have, maybe by July 4th, we'll let you gather with your family in your backyard. Florida. Now, there is a reason that Florida has the third most cases in the whole of the United States and the fourth most deaths, and it's because they're being led by an incompetent fool who takes no precautions. It's really simple as. I think that's all I have to say on the subject. You know, we have stats to back this up. California is the most, and they're also not doing great. Then Texas, then Florida. And those are like the three states that everybody laughs at America about, you know? You have Florida man, you have the SoCal girl, and you have redneck Texans. Like, the fact that those are the three worst states in the US is so telling. These kids on Reddit are next level stupid. Let me ask you this. If you're vaccinated, should you wear a mask? Yes, you can still be a carrier and spread it. Uneducated. No, they're not. I made this mistake myself. I thought that the whole purpose of a vaccine was so that you can never catch the virus. And in part, this is correct. However, the way viruses work and the way your immune system works is that you still get infected with the virus, but your immune system is capable of battling it off before you show symptoms. So you're asymptomatic. With a lot of viruses, this is efficient enough that your body can fight it off before it gets to a point where you can spread it. However, currently with COVID, there is no evidence to suggest that you cannot still spread COVID after being vaccinated. So, after being vaccinated, you should make sure that you're not going to spread it to people who aren't vaccinated. And people that are vaccinated can still get COVID, but the chances of them getting a severe case of COVID is considerably reduced. Also, no one's died from the vaccine yet, so why shouldn't you get it? There's no risk if no one's died. right? And the final picture. My restaurant started a challenge. If we go 30 days without having to ask anyone to put a mask on, we will give away free donuts for a day. So far, the longest we've made it on any day is 2:30 p.m. We open at 11 p.m. They are so insufferable. The whole subreddit is people that don't want to wear masks whining at people who wear masks, right? That's what we've established here. But my favorite little detail about the subreddit is they have their own little tags, right? Like this one is tagged virtue signaling. And it's so reminiscent of Level Truth, that other flat earth subreddit I looked at. It's just hilarious that they have to tag things. They have to try and tear down people that have differing opinions by putting little tags on it. Just that little blow that makes you think, oh, the post they're talking about must be stupid because it's got a tag. You can't have a logical argument with someone if the minute you start talking, they've already put a badge on you. Right? Again, it's another reason this subreddit loses me. As much as there have been 4, maybe 5 posts in this whole video that I've gone, yeah, okay, that kind of makes sense. You just get people like this, or you get the crazy conspiracies and stuff, and it just loses me. And I've tried to look at this subreddit rationally, but it loses me, and it's gotten so much worse. When I last looked at this months ago in my first video, which by the way got harassed, the whole reason I'm making this video is because they posted it in the subreddit and harassed me for my weight, for my beard. By the way, I wore a mask while working in a warehouse doing a lot of physical work, and I am fat, and never once did I get faint or lightheaded or pass out. So if you guys are doing that while wearing masks, that means that you are more unhealthy than the guy that you have repeatedly called fat. I just want to make that point clear, okay? Anyway, I got harassed by the subreddit, and that's why I made the video. It's gotten worse since then. Back then, there were a lot of posts that cited websites, and while the websites they cited were dodgy as hell, at least they were citing websites. Now, it's just all memes. It's just all really bad memes. It's gone downhill. So the subreddit is even worse. I want to join the subreddit even less than in my first video where I just laughed at the whole thing. Now it just makes me sad. So that's where I'm going to end the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you want to support me in making more content like this, then I have a Patreon down below, or equally, you can click that join button. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, guys. Stay safe. Peace out.